Hey YouTube, we've been asked by a lot of our friends to make a video about our garden, so here we go, we'll give you a shot. Now, the thing we notice on YouTube about most of the videos is that you get kind of a one-sided picture of the gardens and you only see everything great and wonderful, but we face a lot of challenges here in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. It's a very dry desert, we get very little rainfall, and in the summer we probably get about 10 days that exceed 120 degrees, maybe more, and so we have long hot summers. So you'll see the good, the bad, and we'll share our challenges and hopefully some ways that we overcome it. Now this year we've had a hard start. We've had unseasonably cool weather for quite a while. Now we're all the way to the end of May. It's May 23rd here, and it's had a lot of cold days. So here's what we've got going so far. Our biggest thing looks like we have cowpeas going. We have cowpeas growing like crazy. And you'll see in the morning we get these really lovely flowers right before they turn into these pods. And we have pods everywhere. This variety is the Blue Goose variety. They produce really pretty beans that are kind of gray with darker speckles on them. And they've been climbing up to the top of our tomato poles, and so we have a whole bunch of those. Now, they've choked out the tomatoes. This whole row of Illinois Beauty tomatoes kind of got choked out. There's just one surviving plant there because these beans got bigger than we expected, faster than the tomatoes did. Now, these beans are really close to being ready to get picked. When they turn completely yellow and the pods are bulging, that's when we can harvest them. So this weekend we'll probably be harvesting some of these beans. In this bed we also have more tomato plants. These are the Illinois Beauty. They got a real slow start because of the cold weather, but we're finally seeing some blooms in here. And we have a lot of wind to hopefully help pollinate since we haven't seen too many bees coming in just yet. Now we have more of the cowpeas over here. These are the California black-eye peas, and we've actually harvested quite a few pods off of this plant already, even though it's quite small. And we get over here and we have a lot of bare space because we haven't had much success with this coming up. We have a little tiny eggplant right down here, and that's been replanted, and over here is another. More cowpeas on this side. This is a red variety, kind of going crazy. Lots of big pods. And these turn a nice vibrant purple when they're ready to pick. I don't see any that are quite ready to pick right now. But we've also started some chocolate bell peppers here. Here's one a little bit bigger, and those are real slow to grow. Now we have tomatillos growing like crazy over here, the plant anyway. This big monster bush, it came up before anything else and just grew like a weed, but come to find out we needed to have a second plant in order to pollinate it. Now this guy's come up and we are seeing lots of flowers, but meanwhile we have a lot of empty husks on this. You can see right here is one, and they're empty. There's nothing in there because they didn't pollinate well. We are getting some okra starting here. Hopefully it won't get shaded out too much and they'll be able to come up. Those are supposed to get 6 feet tall. Pretty big variety. Then, on the other side of this huge tomatillo, where did it go? There it is. We've got some pepperoncinis coming up, and there's actually a little tiny pepperoni on there. Not sure if you can see it, but everything's kind of getting shaded out by this huge tomatillo. This bed has not been doing very well at all. This row is all golden bell peppers, and those have been so stunted. Tiny, tiny little guys. And then this side was our Amish paste tomatoes. I wanted to can those and make sauces and things like that, and again, real small. A couple of our problems, aside from the cold weather, we actually had snow this winter, which was pretty unusual. And then we are having a chlorination issue with the water. our city released a report saying that our chlorine levels in the water are excessively high, but unfortunately everything's irrigated below ground, so we can't easily put a filter on it to get the chlorine out. So we're still working on ideas. We really don't want to have to tear up everything underground to put a filter on it. And then we have more cowpeas over here. Like I said, we just have tons of these guys, which is pretty awesome. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to making some Hoppin' John with all of these beans, maybe next week. If we turn around, I have a ridiculously huge rosemary plant here. That took a couple years to get established. And then over here is my tatum squash. Now, this guy started out looking really good, but it's looking pretty pathetic right now. You see some really pretty blooms going on there, but I think those are all pretty much males. I'm not seeing the female flowers right now. But the whole thing is kind of dry and crispy, but we've kept water on it, so I don't really know what's going on there. We've harvested 3 tatum squash off of there. Here's one. The female flower hasn't opened yet, but there's the start of a little squash. And it's a form of zucchini. It's a Mexican variety, and they're really quite tasty. So I planted some more seeds. It's just in a barrel and not on irrigation. I water that. So I might get a filter to put on there. Maybe that's the problem with the chlorine. But I planted a few more in there to hopefully get some more started since this one's petering out. And over here we have little scallop squash, and we've got some lovely blooms on it. There's a male flower, and this one's a female. See, here's the squash and the female flower. So I'm helping these with pollination. So I'll pull this flower off. You pull the petals off, and you just take the male part and you put it inside the female flower in order to pollinate. And here's one that was already pollinated, and the squash is developing nicely. It's kind of a little guy, but those are really cute. It's a green tint scallop. And these pots are all started with some more melons because the original ones didn't come up. And so I'm replanting a whole bunch of stuff. This bed over here is our oldest bed, and we've had this one going for about 4 years now, maybe 5 years. It took us a long time to get this established to where we could get the dirt going in a healthy way, because we made it in our native soil and have just added amendments to it. Now, these are our artichokes. We started them way back in September of last year, and they really never did anything and don't look great, but they are a perennial here, and so hopefully as they die off over the summer, they'll come back next year and be strong, and we're hoping for some artichokes. Our family really loves artichokes. And here we've got some onions coming up. These are actually leeks. They're really cool, and these started back in September as well, but now they're getting quite big and probably ready to harvest pretty soon here. I like leeks for their kind of sweet flavor. Here's this mint plant. I've pulled it up several times, not in order to get rid of it, but just to try and keep it under control. It sends off runners underground, and they just come up everywhere. There's a little runner there, and they just pop up. There's another one over there. This spinach is dying off. We had spinach going all winter long. Our seasons are a little off, so we do our leafy greens all winter. And so the spinach, I'm letting it go to seed. I want to harvest some seeds in order to replant them next year. Over here, I have some little cucumbers coming out. And this variety is not supposed to require pollination, so let's see if I can reach in here. There's also a beet hanging out right there. Well, there's a little cucumber right there. And there's some more. But it has little cucumbers all over it. They haven't done much yet, but hopefully they'll come up. That little squash is a lemon squash, summer squash, so it's like a yellow summer squash type of thing, but it's round, like a baseball, I guess. And here, that's another okra plant coming up. Just planted those about a week and a half ago. Now the weather's getting a little bit warmer, and so we can finally see some more growth. This is another one of the scallop squash plants. We've got some more females in here. excited about that. And it takes you to another bed. And these plants, I'm pretty sure, are actually wonderberries. They look a lot like tomatoes, but I planted wonderberry seeds all over the place here. And the wonderberries are supposed to grow like tomatoes, and we've never done them before, so it's kind of an experiment, but these are just small still. Now, here's our big grape plant, and it started out going like gangbusters. It was really cool, had little grape pods and grapefruit all over the place. It's a red flame grape, so they're supposed to ripen to be nice red, sweet grapes. But then it started looking bad like it is right now. And I'm pretty sure this is that fungus infection. So I'm going to try some of that wettable sulfur on it to hopefully, I don't know, turn around the shape of it. It might be all lost for this year, but maybe next year we'll be able to get some good growth out of it again and get some fruit that we can harvest. I don't think these grapes are going to do anything because of the fungus. I think it's really hurting the plant. This is the remnants of our snap peas. You can see this grew really huge, and we have been harvesting mad snap peas off this thing for weeks and weeks, but now it's just about crisped up and done. We kept a bunch of mature peas in order to replant next year as seeds, and this whole thing, we'll just turn it back into the dirt. It's good nutrients for everything, releases nitrogen back into the soil, so that'll just get folded back in. And this bed, we've kind of been having a hard time with this bed. I don't know what's going on, but that's a little okra. This is actually where we had our carrots this winter, and we had tons of carrots growing in here. One of the challenges with this bed, only particularly this bed, seems to be that we get a lot of lizards come over here and eat new sprouts. So that's been one challenge there. Here are a couple watermelon plants starting. We have a Navajo Winter and a Desert King variety. The Desert King is a big variety that yields orange flesh, and the Navajo Winter is a white watermelon on the outside and pink flesh on the inside. So we've been seeing a lot of flowers on these plants, but we're not seeing any fruit yet. And then the grape plant just kind of wraps around here, and the new growth all looks much better than the old growth. And we were training this around the chicken coops to give shade to chickens if we decide to get more chickens. The last ones were meat chickens, so they've already been harvested.